Welcome back everyone. I'm going to go over the details for the upcoming competition happening on July 23rd, 2024, which features yet another Starlight Market Box meta, but their craft requirements are different than the previous competition that we had earlier this month. I'm also going to talk about some changes and issues that happened with the previous competition. Afterwards, I will showcase a very competitive market box build to help you in this competition. As always, you can find the official information in the Common Ground World Announcements channel in the Gala Games Discord, and I have a link to the Discord in the description. The competition begins on July 23rd, 2024 and ends 3 days later. Meta is to sell Starlight Market Boxes. Trade time is 40 seconds, 1 gasoline per trade. The biome is going to be a desert biome with a mountain on the east side and 2 rivers on the south and west sides. Here's what the starting town looks like. You do have an oil seep since it is a desert, and you start off with 2 water pumps, a couple of wind turbines, and basically everything you need to immediately start crafting gold, which is very convenient because gold is one of my favorite things to do for cash at the very start, and also it is one of the cash boosts for this competition. So the cash boosts are gold from 4,880 for each one that you sell, now giving 9,760, so it is double the normal amount. Same goes for oak barrels from 5,500 to 11,000, and jam from 25,000 to 50,000. And of course, the Starlight Market Box is boosted in stars, giving you 50,000 stars for each one that you sell. So the craft requirements for this Starlight Market Box are 8 oak barrels, 15 gold, 2 jam, and 1 wooden box. It's still crafted in the boxing facility. It is still stored in the warehouse. Craft time is still 1 minute. The standard values have changed since the craft requirements changed compared to what it was before. The rewards for this competition are going to be the standard Gala rewards for reaching the top 1,200 placements in the leaderboard, in addition to the Crafty Candy Shop blueprint. Now, if you watched last week's video, I mentioned that competition had a blueprint reward, which was also the Crafty Candy Shop. However, there was some issues with that competition. That competition ended up getting delayed, and also we pretty much did the competition while there was a bug happening with wood. Specifically, when you still had a woodshed and it was full of wood, then the windmills or lumber mills would stop working and they would stop picking up that wood, and it would cause a huge issue with your town. The workaround to that was not having a woodshed on your final build, or just making sure that the woodshed or lumber yard was not full of wood. But due to, I suppose, people saying that they want the competition to continue, the Common Ground World team decided not to cancel the competition, and it was already delayed a day, so that competition went on for 2 days, from last Wednesday to that Friday, and it still happened, but the Common Ground World team decided to pull off the Crafty Candy Shop blueprint and move it to this competition that's going to be happening with the Starlight Market Box meta. So that's why I mentioned that there was a blueprint effect card reward last week, but it didn't happen. That's going to happen for this competition. And for the blueprint, depending on where you rank in the leaderboard, you will get a different rarity, and the better the rarity, the higher craft time reduction for all of the crafts in the candy shop that it will provide. Now I'm going to show you this amazing Starlight Market Box build for the July 23rd, 2024 competition. This one is doing at least 32 Starlight Market Box per hour. It will actually peak at 32.75 per hour. That's the most I've seen it make. It has been running for 4 hours. I was running it before this, but the power went out. For sure, this is a stable rate. I'm going to scroll through the production monitor so you can see all the items, and then I'm going to talk about the main items, which would be jam, oak barrels, and wooden box, as well as gold. So gold is at 499 per hour, basically 500 per hour, and that is enough gold to potentially do 33 Starlight Market Boxes per hour. Iron is at 280, but oak barrels are at 262. So it is overproducing iron, but it's not producing enough oak wood to make more than the 262 oak barrels per hour. So if you were to find a way to add even more oak trees on here to increase that oak wood production, then you can get the oak barrel production up even higher. But that amount of oak barrels is enough to reach the 32.75 Starlight Market Boxes per hour that this can make. This build is very balanced, so if you wanted to go beyond that 32.75 market box rates, you would have to pretty much increase everything. Increase gold, increase gem, increase the oak barrels. Not the wooden boxes though. Moving on to jam, that's at 65.6 per hour. So once again, that's enough for 32.75 market box per hour. And the wooden boxes are at 49 per hour. It's very hard to balance that perfectly because you either have one lumber mill and you make like 25 to 30 boxes, or you have two lumber mills and you make 50 to 60 boxes. So that's what I'm using for this, two lumber mills making the wooden boxes. But that will give you everything you need for 32.75 Starlight Market Boxes per hour. This meta is one of the easier ones. This build is relatively cheap to make, and the cash boosts for this competition are going to allow you to finish this so much quicker. I'll begin by explaining gold production. I have 20 logger houses, which might be one or two too many, but better have more loggers than not enough loggers, I think. There are 27 tree farms, all have the 5 passive water that they need, and they're all on a green craft timer. There are 10 regular panner houses. These come with 1 panner worker and cast 1 shade. Now there are also the panner bunk houses in the game. I am not utilizing those for this build. The panner bunkhouses come with 2 workers, but they cast 2 shade. That's why I'm not using them, because I can have these buildings closer to the tree farms and the gold panning sites and not have to worry about casting shade on them. Additionally, like I said, I'm using 10 panner houses. I don't think I actually need all 10. I could probably get away with only using like 6 or 7, but just keep that in mind in case you do want to replace them for other things or potentially find a way to add more tree farms on this area right here. So I have 11 gold panning sites. I believe 10 are on a green craft timer. This is the only one that's being affected by 2 shades, so it crafts gold ore slightly slower. All the gold ore gets picked up by the panners and stored in the ore storage right here. Ore storage only casts 1 shade as well. Gold ore gets picked up by the forges. There are 8 forges, all crafting gold, and gold gets stored in the nearby warehouse, and there are a total of 3 warehouses. For iron and oak barrel production, I have 3 lumber mills making lumber right here next to the water pump. Then I have 4 water facilities on the south side. Water facilities don't cast any shade, so they can be right next to the windmill that's on a green craft timer. They will just need 3 passive water to craft the water drums and take it to the closest warehouse. Then I have 4 iron mines. All the iron mines have the 1 passive energy that they need from this power plant right here, and they'll pick up the water drums and lumber in order to make iron, take it to the closest warehouse. And then I have 29 oak tree farms to gather up all the oak wood that I need. It is picked up by the loggers and taken directly to the lumber mills making oak barrels, and I have 8 lumber mills making oak barrels. There's 4 up there, 2 right here, and then there's 1 in the middle and 1 on the south side. Now for jam production, I have 5 tractors which are in charge of picking up the sugarcane from the 5 sugarcane fields and the strawberries from the 7 strawberry fields and taking it to the 1 silo that I have. Now for the sugarcane fields, only 1 of them is impacted by 1 shade, but it still gives me enough sugarcane for my production production rate. All these strawberry fields are on a green craft timer. They are not negatively impacted by shade. That's why I have them closer to the buildings over here, as well as the windmill that casts a lot of shade. And then I have 13 windmills making sugar. One of them is on a green craft timer right here. And then I have all 12 of them over here on a red craft timer, as well as some over here, but it's 12 in total. I have one storehouse, so they store all the sugar right here. And then I have 3 bakeries making jam. They do have the 1 passive water drum from this water pump right here. They're able to quickly pick up strawberries because the silo is really close to them. And then the storehouse isn't that far away, so they'll pick up the sugar here as well. Once the jam is crafted, it gets stored in the 1 pantry here. I'm using the standard gasoline setup with 2 water pumps, 2 power plants, refinery in between them crafting gasoline, and the refinery to the side crafting petroleum. We are supplied with an oil seep, so I am utilizing that to have passive crude oil for the refinery crafting petroleum. I also have passive crude oil on this power plant, and that's the one I use whenever I need to craft energy to build all the buildings that I need to make. And I have the fuel storage right here. So if you noticed, I did keep the water pumps, the fuel storage, and I believe some of the paved roads here in the position that they were when we started the town. I did move the warehouse because I didn't want it to be in this location. I thought it was too far away from the mines, but essentially you shouldn't have to build any water pumps. You're still going to need to collect some oak wood to build the water facilities. For the trade setup, I'm using 1 trade depot on the northeast corner, which is more than enough to sell everything that I need to sell. Optional buildings are this builder house right here, since it's not connected to a road, as well as this builder house. Here's what the auto sell looks like. I have quantities of 10 and 12 for most items, and for jam I do have it at 20. You don't actually have to auto sell jam because that's the only item that gets stored in the pantry, but it is better if you auto sell it, so that way you can get a little bit of extra cash and stars. And of course the market box, you should go ahead and sell it off right away, so set that at 10. You don't have to auto sell petroleum with the setup that I used. You would only have to auto sell petroleum if your refinery crafting petroleum is closer to the fuel storage than the refinery crafting gasoline. But if you are overproducing petroleum, then go ahead and add that to auto sell. You should auto sell oak wood just in case you overproduce it, and honestly you should probably auto sell wood as well. I don't have that on here because I don't overproduce wood. I use it all to make lumber, but if you adjust this build or utilize some NFTs that would increase your wood production, you want to make sure that you're not overproducing wood and it fills up your lumber yard. Otherwise that will ruin your build. You won't be able to store any lumber on there, and you won't be able to craft any oak barrels. Here's what the file looks like on the visualizer. Total cost is 8.3 million, which isn't that bad, especially with the cash boost. Wages are at 13,410 per minute. You will have no issue paying off the wages. This file contains 2 stages, one with the starting biome and one with the finished design. You can find the file for this visualizer at my Discord server, and an invite link to my Discord server is in the description. No NFTs are required to reach this production rate. Now, I did spend a lot of time optimizing this design. I went through like 4 or 5 different iterations of the design, and if you were watching my stream on Friday, I actually did the first idea on stream. The goal was somewhere around 37 Starlight Market boxes per hour because that's what I thought I could make based off mostly 5 iron mines and the amount of other buildings I could fit in there. But the problem was I really wouldn't have had space for all of the loggers that would be required to pick up all that wood, so that obviously wasn't going to work. I then started to aim somewhere around 25 and then went up to 30 after a lot of optimizations. So this is how it came out after a lot of optimizations. If you can optimize it even more than this, then I'd be surprised, but I wish you best of luck. I think I kind of overdid it on this one, but it's going to be even more helpful for the competition. I believe if you do have NFTs that will reduce the craft times of your tree farms and oak tree farms, that it will be a big advantage, such as the town hall NFT or even effect cards to reduce those craft times. Like I said, I I do think this has too many logger houses, but if you are gonna use NFTs that will reduce the craft times of your trees, then you should be fine with this amount of logger houses. I did have a lot of fun optimizing this design as well as working on my own, and I think this is an easy competition meta to do. So at the start, since everything is provided for you to sell gold, I suggest you sell gold and scale that up, sell more gold. As soon as you have somewhere around 10 mil, you should be able to build everything and still have enough for wages, so it shouldn't take that long. Other than that, I don't really have any other advice on how to optimize this further. And before I end the video, I want to talk about some payment issues that happened with the previous competition that just ended. So the payments went out today as of recording this video on July 22nd, and it seems like some people got the wrong payout. As far as I can tell, the issue seems to be that they took a snapshot of the scores sometime around the first couple hours of the competition, because the scores that Farmer Michelle shared on Discord were actually much lower than the final scores when the competition ended. So something off happened there, and they already sent out the rewards. So some people, I think most people got the wrong reward. Some people ended up getting the correct reward, such as myself, because I think I was in that rank range near the first couple hours, and I was still in the same rank range when the competition ended. But they did put out an announcement. They are aware of the payment issues, and they'll find a way to address it or fix it. So I don't think you need to submit a ticket this time if you got the wrong payment. They should hopefully soon enough fix that issue for us. It looks like they've had issues sending out payments for 2 weeks in a row now. The first time we didn't know why, but this time it seems like they just aren't double checking the list that they have with the final list of scores. It looks like to me it's a very easy thing to check, so they really should be more careful or get somebody else to do the payment rewards, because if they're not double checking the final scores before they send out the rewards, yeah, that doesn't look good for them. But yeah, that's gonna be everything. Hopefully you found this video helpful or informative. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing if you haven't done so. If you want to help support the channel, I have links on the description on how to do so. As always, I appreciate your support, and thank you for watching.